my deepest condolences to the family of the late Linda Beardy. Linda was found yesterday, unfortunately, at the Beardy landfill in Winnipeg. My community goes out to the people of Lake St. Martin and all women and First Nations women across this country who continue to experience high levels of violence and early deaths. And so my heart and my mind is with the people back home. The Chiefs in Assembly at the Assembly of First Nations came together to support the representative plaintiffs and the revised settlement agreement on compensation for First Nations children and families. The Chiefs unanimously passed a resolution expressing their support for the revised compensation final settlement agreement, including the Assembly of First Nation to take the agreement through the next steps of the approval process. The resolution also calls on the Prime Minister to make a formal apology to the representative plaintiffs and the survivors of Canada's discrimination and those who have passed on to the spirit world.
My heart goes out to families of the woman who was killed and left in this way. It is heartbreaking to see this continue to happen. Indeed, over the past years, we have made significant investments and strides in countering gender-based violence, countering the epidemic of violence that continues to strike the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. But there is more to do, and we will continue to be there with the community as it grieves, but we will also continue to be there to put an end to this unconscionable violence.
The first job I did as an elected official was to help to launch the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women, and I traveled across the country and sat with families as they poured out their grief and horror and shock about the many, many ways that their daughters and mothers and aunties and grandmothers had been, really there's no other word for it, but tortured and then oftentimes forgotten. Obviously, the Government of Canada has a huge role to play, and so do many other partners, and so do Canadians. And so it's a tragedy that we start with today as we talk about, really, in some ways, the roots of those tragedies.